math, science, other subjects, geography, stenography. Welcome to Jim Jefferies. I don't know about that. Hey, hi, I'm Jim Jefferies. Welcome to I Don't Know About That. I'm here with Kelly Zabinski.
One of these days you'll get that right.
Well, how am I saying it wrong?
You're adding an N. It's Zabilski.
Zabilski.
Yeah.
It's what is that? Croatian or something?
Polish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I just watched Sophie's Choice.
Oh, good.
I did. Yeah, she was Polish.
Never seen it.
The choice at the end, she had to pick which kid went to the concentration camp. It was quite the dilemma. But there was nothing really happened.
Is that what the movie's about?
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I thought it was like a love story.
Yeah, well, there's a bit of a love story, and there's Kevin Kline's characters in there, and he's like this sort of obsessive, sort of weird mental patient guy. And Meryl Streep, she's doing very good actress, that woman.
Oh, yeah.
She should keep it up. Yeah. Keep it up. She does a very good Polish woman. I'm here with Forrest Shaw.
Hi, Jim.
You're a Croat, aren't you?
I'm Croatian. Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Like a quarter. I'm like a bunch of stuff. But that part of my family is from what is Croatia now, Yugoslavia then.
Oh, see? Now I know about that.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we get a recording of this episode to Meryl Streep, though, just in case she's thinking about quitting acting.
Oh, Meryl. She did a good Australian accent in the old Dingo Stole My Baby, that movie. She was good in that.
Never seen it.
I've never seen anyone else do a good Australian accent.
I've seen that.
Even Australians.
What's the name of that movie?
It's called Evil Angels.
Oh. Everyone calls it A Dingo Ate My Baby, though.
A dingo. I always find that weird that, like in Seinfeld, Elaine says that at one stage, didn't a dingo steal your baby? And an American yell that out at me when I'm on stage. Did a dingo steal your baby? A dingo stole a baby and fucking ate it. It's not...
It's too soon to joke about.
It's not to be joked about.
No, but I thought that it was a question of whether she killed her baby or the dingo.
There's a lot of people... There's the debate out whether she did it, Lindy Chamberlain did it, or whether the dingo did it. But now it's pretty much believed that the dingo did it, but my mother still believed till her deathbed that Lindy Chamberlain did it.
So that's what, like, Casey Anthony needed more, like, dingoes.
Casey Anthony did it. I'm not gonna say allegedly. That woman fucking did it.
That would have been awesome in her trial. She would have been like, it was a dingo. Everybody knows.
The dingo drowned your baby. Okay. All
So
right.
welcome to the show. If you're watching this on YouTube, we've all got black masks now. Mm-hmm. Mine's more ill-fitting. I feel like
It's a little tight.
Yeah, I feel like mine was bought from a bra that was like an A cup, and they just cut it in half.
See, the difference though is mine's a little loose, so every time I breathe in, I like choke on it. It's like going into my mouth, so I'm choking on it.
Oh, these masks are a wonderful way to find out about your breath. How people deal with me on a regular basis is beyond me. This is horrendous in here.
You do. I have been learning a lot about my breath. There's days when it's fine, and there's other days I put it on, and then I'm just like, whoa, okay, sorry. And then I just think about days that I've had bad breath, and probably people didn't tell me. I think that should be a new thing coming out of this, is tell people they have bad breath.
You eat garlic and you're like, can't leave the house today.
Yeah.
I'll be smelling myself all day.
Well, imagine people with like halitosis though, for real. Like they're probably not leaving the house at all. I wouldn't want to put a mask on.
Yeah. I think you get used to your own smell a bit though.
Really?
I don't know. I've been smelling very ripe lately. I gotta give a shout out to Manscaping. The machine.
Yeah, using the product?
If you looked at my dick right now, you'd be pleasantly surprised.
It's one of our sponsors.
I liked it so much that I clipped my balls and me dick and me shaft, the ones at the end, the shaft hairs. They're no good, right? No. What? There can't be a God. Who put shaft hairs on there? But I enjoyed the clippers so much because the other clippers, when you put the little bracket on top of it, the hairs bunch up and you have to clean it out. This one's the hairs just fly off. I enjoyed it so much that after I did my dick and balls, I did my face today.
With the same clippers?
With the Manscaped clippers. It's the best clipper I've ever had.
Who's cleaning up after you?
So
you gotta do that in reverse order.
Now if there's warts on my face, you'll know where they came from.
All right. So any announcements? Every time we do this, any live events coming up?
I have a comedy special on Netflix coming out this summer, is all I'm allowed to say.
You're not allowed to say the name even?
Well, no, the special's called, what's it called?
I thought it was called...
Oh, it's called Intolerant.
Yeah.
It's called Intolerant. I recorded it in like November. There's a bit on the special, which I have to mention. I talk about germaphobes on the special, and I rip into them a bit, and now it seems a little dated.
No, it's okay.
Material's not aging well, is it?
It hasn't even aired, and I'm like, these fucking germaphobes. Oh, gotta wear gloves everywhere I go. You fucking
Wash
pussies.
my hands after I piss.
Yeah, washing my hands. And now I've got a little bit of egg on my face. Well, it smells like that anyway.
I think you're okay. I know the joke. It's not like you're not like, it doesn't really apply. It applies to people that are.
The whole special is just a long story. It's a really
yeah.
big story.
Yeah, I think you're fine.
It's like a 50-minute story and a bit of material at the beginning. And that's all the special is.
If you haven't already, and that would be weird if you're like, well, maybe not, just subscribe to our podcast. And anywhere that you listen to podcasts, but specifically YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any way that you listen to it. Also, like our Instagram page, it's IDKAT podcast. That's the handle for I don't know about that, IDKAT podcast. Please like that or follow that on Instagram and DM us with any topics that you'd like us to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any shaft hairs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, but I have a manscaper.
I've got one shaft hair that's way up halfway. It's just a rogue hair that grows up near the top of me dick.
You should name
No
it.
good.
Yeah, you got to keep that one. For
I
sure.
pluck him.
See how it grows.
He gets kicked out, that one.
Okay, let's introduce our guest for today. I'm going to give you one clue before, because Professor Bernard Haykel, just so you know, we don't tell him what your field of expertise is yet. He's going to try and guess that based on some yes or no questions. So I just gave you a clue by saying professor, so you know he's a professor. So meet Professor Bernard Haykel. Thank you for being here.
Hello, Bernard.
Pleasure. Hi.
Okay, so I'm looking at you. You're a professor.
Yes or no
okay, yes.
questions?
Does your profession involve science?
No.
Does it involve religion?
Yes.
Okay, so he's a professor of religion.
That's your final answer?
That's my final answer. There
You didn't
go.
even need 3.
I mean,
Like, what do you mean, professor of?
I'm going to give it. I mean,
It involves religion, and he's a professor.
He can tell you whether
it's about economics.
He can tell you whether he agrees with that or not. But Bernard Haykel is a professor of Near Eastern Studies and the director of the Institute for Trans-Regional Study of Contemporary Middle East, North Africa, and Central Asia at Princeton University.
Oh, that's good. We're pro-trans here, so happy
today,
to have you.
Today we're going to be talking about Saudi Arabia and also Prince Mohammed bin Salman. So
Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
yes. I can tell you're going to do good on this one because you don't even know who that is.
We're talking about the prince, or we're talking about Saudi Arabia?
But I just want to say, Bert, did I get that all right, Professor Bernard Haykel? Is there anything you want to add to that as far as, is religion, you think, a correct answer? I think he's partial credit, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I deal with religion because, religion is important in Saudi Arabia and in the Middle East, especially religious political movements. His name is Mohammed bin Salman.
Salman. What did I say?
So Forrest gets no points.
I'm already wrong.
He has the information
I have it in
him.
front of me and I messed it up. I'm sorry. Salman.
Okay, so we want to know about the prince, or we want to know about Saudi
Here's
Arabia?
what I want you to tell us, Jim. Right now, what you're going to do, and you're going to tell us, first of all, what do you know about the history of Saudi Arabia? I'll kind of prod you along.
Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a country.
By the way, before we go on, after this, we are going to rank him. Bernard, you are going to rank him on accuracy on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. I don't know why I have to say that. Like, would 10 ever be the worst score?
Well, we did get a review where somebody left us a really nice review in words, but only gave us a 1 star. And I'm like, I don't know if you know how this works.
Golf.
So 1 through 10 in accuracy, you're going to rate him. Kelly's going to rate him 1 through 10 on confidence. I'm going to do 1 through 10 on believability. Please don't worry about hurting his feelings, because we're considering you a 10 in this field, just so you know. So if you say 8.5, then you're diminishing your value.
What if I know more than him?
Well, then 11.
All right.
But considering you didn't know who the prince was, I'm not going to know.
No, I know there's a prince. I didn't know his name, but isn't there a king as well? There's a king who's still alive.
Let's start right now. Okay, so let's start with just the basic history of Saudi Arabia. Anything you know about the
Okay, it's in the Middle East. It's
10.
I believe it's entirely Muslim. I believe that Muhammad was from Saudi Arabia, the Prophet Muhammad.
He's from Ohio, but
he visited the Mormons in Utah.
Okay, keep going. I'm not going to interrupt you.
So I believe that the Prophet Muhammad was from Saudi Arabia. I believe that Saudi Arabia is the main source of oil in the world, and that's why America never tells them to fuck off, because we can't, because we're indebted to them because of oil. I know it has a border with Iran. One of those borders were Iran. I think it may be the biggest country in the Arab countries. It might be the largest. I believe there's a king, because I also believe that I have been to Saudi Arabia, but I'm not sure. Now, little story. I've been a drinker. And there was a stage in my life in my early 30s when there was a war in Iraq and in Afghanistan, and I was sent out to entertain the troops all the time. And I believe at one stage, me and a comic called Tom Stade, who was also a heavy drinker, went and stayed in Saudi Arabia before we went to Iran or Iraq or Afghanistan.
Or something like that?
Just to stay there, but like on an army base or whatever. They put us in this fancy hotel with like a lazy river, and they gave us bottles of vodka, and me and Tom just got fucked up in Saudi Arabia, which you're not meant to do because Saudi Arabia is a dry country. There's no drinking. Now, I also believe that Saudi Arabia has a lot of human rights issues. Is that the polite way to say it?
Yeah.
That women have just been allowed into sporting stadiums 2 years ago. They've just been allowed to drive in the last year because I saw that on TV. And I believe they've just been allowed into restaurants as well, but I might be wrong on that. But I believe they were just allowed into restaurants, which, what the fuck is that all about, right? Why wouldn't you let him into fucking restaurants? The only reason you go to restaurants is so you can have sex afterwards.
Right.
Otherwise, I'll just use Postmates. Me and Forrest don't go out to dine unless we're on the road. I never call Forrest over in LA and go, we must dine, but without these pesky women bothering us with our erections and whatnot, right? So
let me ask you a question. What are the two holiest cities in Saudi Arabia?
Pajama bed and fucking.
Is that pajama bed?
Yeah, he was right. He got that right.
Okay, here's the thing about pajama bed. Saudi Arabia.
There's another city. What's the second one? So I'm assuming you don't know the second.
Abu Dhabi.
You didn't know the first
Abu
one.
Dhabi, or is that a country?
That is an actual city, but that is not right. But that's a good guess. All right, so
Abu Dhabi. I'll go Abu Dhabi. Now, they love the pajamas.
country.
They love the pajamas in in Saudi Arabia. They all wear the white outfit with the white thing with the headband, and the women, they wear the burqas. And I believe this. I've heard this statistic as well, that lingerie sells through the fucking roof in burqa countries because the women like to feel sexy underneath for their husbands, whatever. So they wear a shit ton of lingerie. So Victoria's Secret's crushes over there. Wow. I may be wrong.
Okay. How about, you mentioned the king, about the royal family. Tell me some stuff
Okay,
about
there's
that.
a king who's still alive, but he's
Got a name? No? No name?
Well, what's the son's name?
I don't know. What was it? I just
Was
said it.
something salmon? Was salmon or
No,
something?
that's almost what I said incorrectly. But
Salmon? King Salmon?
that's the prince.
Okay, so
Yeah.
okay,
you got the
the King Salmon.
Okay, yeah.
And you're not to mention him because I got told that when I went over there.
I thought that was Thailand.
No, that's the prince in Thailand, the king in Thailand. You don't mention him
Got it.
either.
Okay.
But I was in Dubai and I got in trouble for doing jokes about some sheik, and I got in trouble for that, and I got told to leave the country.
Allegedly, because you're not sure if you were even in Saudi Arabia.
No, but I think I went to Saudi Arabia. I
okay.
could have been in Kuwait. I'm not sure, but I think I was in Saudi Arabia. Anyway, you can't drink that. Now, the burqas, the pajamas.
And how about this?
Oh, here we go. I've got one for you. And
Okay.
I know this because me and you watched this in Scotland when we were drunk and there was nothing else on TV.
I knew this would be something that you would mention. So,
Number one sport,
I already know.
falcon flying.
racing?
Falcon racing. You get a falcon, you put a cap over its head, you put it on your arm, and then there's some guy swings a chicken around his head like this on a bit of rope, does a helicopter of a chicken.
You're almost right on this. But
And then the falcon flies out, and then they go, oh, that was good. And the falcons are so revered that they get their own commercial flight, because we did this on the TV show, where they all stand on the back of seats.
Oh, but just hold off on the falcons, because I think that's going to be
I think this is the meat of what happens over there. I don't think they've had any political problems.
I'm
I don't think there's been any...
just gonna tell you today's topic for that I do know about that is falcon racing. So why don't you just hold off on that? 'Cause
Okay.
I was gonna tie it in, but you're almost right in that. You're a little bit wrong. It's not actually.
I know that falcon racing also is shown on Scottish TV
Okay.
from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m.
Back
for
to-
whatever fucking reason. That's when I watched it.
Back to Saudi Arabia. I got a couple more questions.
Okay.
Then we're gonna let you in, Professor. And we're gonna. Because I know I always look at the experts when Jim's answering this, and
He's looking happy, man.
yeah, he was laughing, but I think he's laughing at you.
Okay.
but and then
They still stone people as well. You can still get stoned for doing shit wrong.
let's a couple more. What do you think this is according to MSN Money? What do you think the net worth of the Saudi royal family is?
The net worth of the Saudi royal family, I'm going to say, is 40 billion.
40 billion?
Yeah, billion.
Okay.
Is that $5 they're in debt? Why is that so fucking weird? If Bezos,
I know the answer, and you're
if
wrong.
If Bezos is worth 150 billion,
Yeah.
right? Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon,
Yeah.
then I would have to go on a limb and say the Saudi royal family is worth 50 billion.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they're not selling everything; they're just selling
Just
oil.
oil.
But they're
Just oil.
selling,
things,
they're
yeah.
selling shit tons of it.
So
Yeah.
okay, and so let's talk about the prince just briefly. The Prince Mohammed bin Salman, right?
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. Sorry for mispronouncing it before. Tell us everything you know about him.
I know that he went on a world trip like a year ago, just going, Saudi Arabia's all right. Am I right? That was what he did because we were going.
That's his chief.
We were-
What's his title in Saudi Arabia?
Prince.
No, what does
Prince
he do
Bin.
for the country?
Oh, he fucking nothing. He's a figurehead.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Okay. That's the first time. Okay. And anything else in general you want to talk about? Anything else with Saudi Arabia that comes to mind?
America always treats them nice. That's all I know. Because like definitely the Bush family thought they were awesome because they're oil barons as well. So they were always like the Saudis are okay, and they never heap shit on them. And then after 9/11, Saudi Arabia was sort of left exempt from any flack because of the oil and the relationship with the Bushes. Am I right on that? I think I might be.
Well, we'll talk to the. I think we're going to let him in now because
Okay.
I think you've after Pajama Bod, we should have just stopped it.
Before we grade him, let's take a quick break.
Okay. If learning a new language is on your to-do list, Babbel makes it fun and easy to start having conversations en Spanola or whatever preferred language. That meant quickly.
En Espanol.
Yes, in Espanol.
That doesn't mean quickly.
The language of the French. Babbel is designed to quickly give you speaking new languages within weeks, but just doing daily classes of 10 to 15 minutes. You do 10 to 15 minutes every day, you'll be speaking German before you know it. Guten Tag. Babbel teaches real-life conversations. You're not learning words and phrases out of context. You learn through interactive dialogues. Don't you like that, Kelly? Interactive.
I love that. Yeah.
Pointing a lot during this ad for some reason.
very
A lot of
aggressive.
pointing.
Because Babbel is built around real life. How actual people communicate and what they care about. You know, because I don't care about my name is Jim Jefferies. I don't need to say the my name bit. I just say, Espanol Jim Jefferies, right? Lessons are thoughtfully created by over 100 language experts. These are real people for us. They're not fake people, not like those stupid translation machines. Real people. And their teaching method has been proven effective across multiple studies. With Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German, and more. The speech recognition technology helps
need
you
this
to
for
improve.
English, right?
It helps you improve your pronunciation and accent. I can use that. I'd like a different accent.
You want to do your American accent?
Hey everyone, and Babbel is available as an online app, so all your progress is synced across all devices.
All devices?
All devices. That's your phone, your TV, your fax machine, everything, all in one place. Babbel. Right now, Babbel is offering our listeners 3 months free with a purchase of a 3-month subscription with the promo code JIM. That's JIM. Go to babbel.com and use the promo code JIM on your 3-month subscription. You get another 3 months for free. That's BABBEL.com, promo code JIM. Babbel, language for life. And we're back. Now, we were talking in the break, and I assume that the prince gets loads of pussy. There would be loads of pussy. Like you know.
Let's grade you real quick, and then we'll get into the loads of pussy thing.
All women there have to wear burqas.
Yeah, and you said that all the guys have to wear the white outfit.
The white pajama outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even in the airports are separated. And I know that because you were in a Saudi Arabia airport.
I was in Jeddah.
And you rang me and you said, "Oh man," he goes, "People are looking at me weird."
Well, I was the only one dressed like this, so that was like. But
Right.
I was connecting there. I'd never been. That was my only experience in Saudi Arabia. So.
Yeah, the men were looking at his face, going, "That's the most attractive woman I've ever seen."
I love her beard.
Okay, so here's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna on a scale of 1 to 10 for each category, and here are the categories today because we've had categories before. I made it was like Baby Einstein. You complained about me having a category for Baby Einstein, and there was some other categories on Instagram models. So for today's show, we're gonna add them all up together. You can get a top score of 30, low score of 0, 0 through 6. If you get that, you will be a mouth breather. 7 through 13, a flat earther. 14 through 20, a basic bitch. 21 through 26, teenage Einstein. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. And 27 through 30, Alex Trebek. All right. So,
And you guys can DM us if you have ideas for.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
How's Alec Trebek smart? He has the answers in front of him.
no, he doesn't. He doesn't know me either.
He just knows them
yeah,
all,
he
does
just
he?
knows the answers. Yeah, that's the thing. You
My
don't know about that show.
girlfriend has just discovered Jeopardy. She's
it's
just
so
discovered
good.
Jeopardy in quarantine, and she thinks Alex Trebek is the nicest man on earth. She goes, he reinforces that the good people in the world. She just loves Alex Trebek. And then I went, and he's dying. And now she's
Jim.
Christ.
I had to break the story.
You got to look up the videos where people are telling their life stories, and he thinks that they're fucking nerds, and he's like, "All right, good story." Like
Yeah,
he just
yeah.
moves on. It's so funny.
It's very funny.
Roast people.
All right, Professor Bernard Haykel. Can you please give us a score from 0 to 10 on Jim's accuracy on the things he said? Be fair.
He got maybe 3 or 4 things right, and the rest were wrong. So I don't know, maybe 3 out of 10.
Three.
All right. Yeah,
Very
okay.
generous.
Well,
Okay.
3
We'll
things
take a
is all right. I'll
yeah.
take a 3.
Kelly, you have confidence.
Yeah. So this is the first time I've ever that you've ever qualified, like you've ever been like, I believe this, blah blah blah, instead of saying it as fact. So I'm gonna go. You're 4 on confidence.
4. All
All
right.
right. This is why there'll never be peace in the Middle East. Because people.
On believability, I'm going to give you a 1 because you said pajama bod. And we all know that's wrong. People that.
But that was confident when he said that.
Pajama bud.
So that is 3 for accuracy, a 4 for confidence, a 1 for believability. Gives you a total score of 8. Means you're a flat earther.
all right.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
You're in the same group as flat earthers.
yeah, if the Earth's not flat, then why isn't things? Why aren't we just spinning out of control?
Yeah, that's a good
why,
point. That is a good
why when
point.
I grew up in Australia
It
was
is-
all the
it is
blood
quite
not rushing?
funny.
Like,
It's quite funny that you say he's a flat earther, because for a long time, the chief religious official in Saudi Arabia actually literally believed that the earth was flat. And there's still a bunch of people there who believe that.
Until what year was that?
Oh, well until the 80s.
Oh boy.
oh wow, he was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
We've only just started believing about that now.
We're really jumping on
So,
the conspiracy theory train here.
I don't want that to be the first question, but does he get loads of pussy, the prince? That's what Jim wants to know. Jim, that was the burning question.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, his private life is like super difficult. He's very opaque, as to what he does.
Tell
But
me this,
he's married to one woman, and he has, I think, 4 kids.
Yeah, Jim, so stop blowing up his spot.
I don't know anything. We don't know anything else about his.
Is he allowed more women?
Oh yeah. I mean, all Muslim men, by the way, are allowed to marry 4 women.
And how do we know that his wife isn't 2 short women on each other's shoulders underneath the burqa, like kids trying to get into a trench coat to get into an R-rated movie?
That wouldn't make sense because he just said he's allowed to marry 4 women.
I know,
So-
but he wants to give off this whole thing of I've only got one bird, I've only got one
yeah,
chick.
does that mean he's like a really good guy? He has the option to marry 4 women, and he's just with one.
I don't know.
Or he's just a wise person. And
I
he
kind of
knows
have
he
a crush
doesn't
on
want
him
more
now.
than
Imagine if you had like 4 wives and then you still cheated.
So
Then you'd be like, I've got a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's start with some basic things. Does everybody wear a white outfit, and do all women wear burqas? And the holy, can you speak
Okay, we'll
to
start with that.
was-
We'll start to that.
Was that was
Yeah, I mean, so in Saudi there is kind of a national dress, and yes, men typically wear the long white shirt that goes down to their ankles. But you do find them also wearing, Western type outfits, especially, let's say, the engineers or people who are working in the oil fields or in the oil company.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to work on your car in your white outfit, would you?
Not in your whites, no.
You wouldn't want your mechanic to rock up and just be like, hey, I'll fix it for you.
But they do wear. I mean, they do wear white pants under the long robe, and they can lift it up, if they want to.
That's comfortable.
Now,
And then the women do dress, and there's an idea of modesty both for men and for women. So women do dress and cover most of their skin. They show their faces. Some do. Many don't.
when you say there's an
but it's not enforced. That's no longer enforced.
Oh, so that's no longer enforced. Okay, so I stand corrected. I thought that was enforced. Okay, but
It was, but it's changed recently.
Until when?
I mean, basically in the last year and a half, things have changed pretty dramatically since they were allowed to drive.
Oh yeah, bloody.
You used to have a religious police that used to go around hitting people if women weren't covered or they were wearing makeup or.
So religious people, they walked around with sticks, correct? They walked around with sticks and they would hit people.
That was all stopped now. That's all been stopped.
How progressive. The sporting events, what was that? Was I correct about that 2 years ago, the sporting events?
Yeah, you're correct that they've allowed women into the sporting events. And then the restaurants, okay, this is the way it worked before. So every restaurant would have two sections. There was a family section where women and their family members, male family members, could go. Mm-hmm. And then there was the singles section, which was only for men.
Right.
Now they got rid of this, and they're allowing men and women to go in.
Okay.
What else did Jim get right? And then we can just talk about other stuff. So we can. Was it the largest country?
Was I correct about the largest country? Was I correct about?
I mean, it's the size of Western Europe, so it's a very, very large country. I think. I'm not absolutely sure, but I think the Sudan, before it was split into the south and the north, was perhaps bigger. But it is one of the very biggest countries.
And is that why cars are called Sudans, because they're bigger cars?
We'll edit that out. So, and then is it the world's main source of oil? Because I know there is oil from lots of places, but.
No, it's one of actually the three largest producers of oil in the world today are the United States, Russia, and Saudi Arabia. But Saudi Arabia does have, as a country, the greatest amount of conventional reserves in the world. About 23% of all the conventional reserves of oil are in Saudi Arabia. It's about 260 billion barrels of oil.
So I've always wondered about this. If America is one of the biggest, manufacturers of oil, or whatever you want to call it, right? Makers of oil? How do you say that? Miners of oil? Producers of oil. Why the fuck do we worry about everyone else's oil? Don't we have enough oil for us here?
I think we use the most. Is what I think we maybe use China, China might be catching up, but I think we use the most because we drive.
But
more
do we have enough for just us?
I don't know. I mean, that's
So do you want me to answer that? It's a bit
sure. Yeah.
Anyways, please jump in and do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the world before the COVID crisis consumed about 100 million barrels of oil a day, and 20 million of those 100 million were consumed here in the United States. The thing about oil, though, is that it's a global commodity and it's traded globally, which means that the price here reflects also supply and demand elsewhere in the world. So if there's less of it in, let's say, Saudi Arabia, there's less of it everywhere. So think of it as a bathtub full of water. If there's less water in a corner of a bathtub, there's less water everywhere. Right. So that's why the price here goes up and down, even if we don't import any oil at all, and we can produce as much as we need. We would still be linked to the rest of the world.
When I was in Dubai, we were driving, and to fill a tank in a 4-wheel drive was like $4. It was really cheap, right? Now, so because of COVID, no one's using oil at the moment because cars aren't being driven. Is Saudi Arabia struggling right now? Is the whole country in a recession?
Yeah, all oil producers around the world are struggling because the decline in demand has been so dramatic. Some people are estimating up to 30% of decline in demand. So that's about 30 million barrels. It's probably a lot less, but still, that's the world has never seen a decline like we've seen now with COVID. How
long until Saudi Arabia is out of oil?
It really depends on how much they produce. But if they produce, let's say, 10 million barrels of oil a day, which is roughly what they do, they can go on for 50, 60, 70 years. I mean, they have a lot of oil.
Wow. Oh, that's good. I'll be dead then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I think also what people don't realize, not just about Saudi Arabia, but just about the world in general, that there's so much fossil fuel in the world, oil, coal, gas, that we would destroy the world many times over if we consumed it. There's just too much of the stuff. And so ecologically, we just cannot keep using it the way we do.
Is Saudi Arabia just sand? Or do you have green bits? Like, do you have a forest? Is there a forest?
You have large plantations of date palms, and the southwestern corner where you have mountains, they get rainfall there, a lot of it actually, and so you do have terraced agriculture there, and it looks greener.
Terraced agriculture.
You don't have like a big forest like anything like you would imagine.
Not like what we have.
Yeah.
Big forest. That was a good joke. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with that gag.
Now, was Jim right as one of the holy cities being Pajamabad? That's something with the two of them. Okay, I thought he was wrong.
Pajamabad.
I was pretty
And it's
sure.
really shameful, really, because that's really like an important city. All Muslims have to pray and face it. It's called
Mecca.
I figured you'd get one of them,
I
Jim.
know fucking Mecca.
Yeah, you didn't say you did.
I thought Mecca was in one of the other countries.
Yeah, well, it's not.
Is the richest man in Saudi Arabia a flip-flop salesman?
Oh,
Like sandals are going off there, right?
yeah.
One guy sells them all.
One guy who goes, I'm Sandal Joe, and he crushes it.
Yeah, that's it. He's richer than the royal family. Which, by the way, you said 40 billion. I have here 1.7 trillion is what they're worth. I don't know.
1.7 trillion?
Yeah, is that close?
Then why do we say that Jeff Bezos is the richest man on earth? Because they're a family? What, is there a trillion of them?
I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Well, yeah. I mean, the royal family is large, so like at least 7,000, maybe more.
So they're poor. When you
Yeah,
divide it by
they're poor.
7,000,
Yeah.
they only get...
There are a lot of and there are a lot of rich ones amongst them.
We're having a bit of a connection problem here.
As a totality. But the crown prince, the man we were talking about earlier, I mean, he controls the treasury in the country.
Now,
so,
if
he is technically the richest man.
If there was a comic who wanted to retire someday, is there an elderly member of the royal family that he could lick the pussy of to get a bit of money?
What?
If there was a what? Sorry?
An elderly member of the royal family who would just like to be fingered really well. Like, how would one go about that?
How do you meet them?
Is there a dating app for this, or
Is there like their
Well,
version?
they all get stipends from the government, so they're all kind of receiving money.
All right.
But yeah, Jim wants to get paid, is what he's saying.
I just want to go in there,
wants to be part of the family.
just date them for a year.
he wants a Saudi sugar mama?
Saudi sugar mama.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that so much to ask?
No, dream big, Jim.
Thank you.
I believe in you.
Okay. And then Jim mentioned human. How'd you put it? Would you?
Human rights.
Yeah, human rights issues in Saudi Arabia. So it sounds like you're saying some of the thing, and I guess maybe we can kind of shift and talk about the prince here because he's part of this. But it sounds like you're saying there's a lot of some changes being made there in Saudi Arabia as far as the way that they at least view women and some things. But over time, like that's the thing here in America that we think of as Saudi Arabia is we think of there's a lot of human rights.
Yeah. No, there are definitely a lot of human rights issues, and a lot of the dissidents and people who are criticizing the government are in prison, and that's wrong. What you see in Saudi Arabia is that there's a tremendous amount of social change. So you see more women in the streets, you see less covering, you see more women in the workforce, that sort of thing. But you don't see any political reform. And the argument that the government makes, and the prince in particular makes, is that if you want to change the society and make it more socially liberal, let's call it socially liberal, then you have to actually crush and repress the religious conservatives. And so that's the argument that he makes for repression. And so you do see some liberalization when it comes to the society, but not when it comes to politics, and not really when it comes to economics.
Are you allowed to become an atheist over there? Are you allowed to just call it a day and go, nah, not for me?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I mean, I wouldn't openly. You can be an atheist, privately, but I wouldn't come out in the open and say that.
See, I don't think I'd belong there. I think...
now your whole plan of this...
None of us were confused.
If I ran a country, fucking, I've said a few misogynistic jokes in my day, but I think it would probably be a bit more lenient than Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. They would be like, he's our hero. And then you're like, I don't believe in God. They're like, kill him.
So, but who can tell you have to believe in a God? The government just tells you have to believe in this?
Yeah, well, officially the government there, rules in accordance with Islamic law, right? So Islamic law forbids apostasy. I mean, if you abandon religion publicly, again, it has to be like a public act. Like you go out in the street and say, I don't believe in God, and especially if you're a Muslim.
Jim mentioned 9/11 and Saudi Arabia, and that we didn't mess with them afterwards because we had too many interests. Or so. Is that accurate? Or
that was accurate, Forrest.
Well, I'm not asking you. I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, what happened? 15 of the 19 hijackers on 9/11 were from Saudi Arabia, and the head of Al Qaeda, the group that led the attack and organized it, a man called Osama bin Laden. You've heard of him, I assume.
Yeah,
he was also Saudi.
That's another episode.
Although he was someone who was stripped of his nationality. Anyway, so the argument has been made and continues to be made actually in the U.S. courts that the Saudi government was behind the attacks. The group that waged the attacks on the U.S. actually hate the Saudi government and want to topple the Saudi government. But the U.S. at the time, the Bush administration, made a calculation that Saudi Arabia was just simply politically and economically too important to.
So we went after Afghanistan instead. We just picked on someone else who was a small.
Bin Laden was in Afghanistan. Where the Bush administration picked on someone else was in Iraq, because Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11.
Now,
and that war was a mistake.
Is that fire engine coming to get you because you've said something wrong?
As the police.
I'm in New York City, so there are a lot of fire engines there.
But with so I watched Fahrenheit 9/11. Was that all true?
Yeah.
That we flew Saudi people out of the country the next day when all the planes were landed? We flew people back to Saudi Arabia. Did that happen?
Yeah, I think that was true. Yes.
Oh man, that's fucked. That.
Yeah, because I think the way the Saudis argued it was they were afraid that there would be retaliation against members of the royal family, so they wanted to get them out of the country.
I wouldn't have. I would have dated one. Got me trillions.
You only have 1.7 trillion.
I only have one retirement plan.
Okay, so Jim mentioned there is a king, and then that also leads us to Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
Now let me get this correct. The king, I was correct in that the king's still around, but the prince does most of the work, right? Or the king never do anything. He just stepped down for his son.
No, he didn't step down. He's still there's still the king, and he delegated his authority to his son.
Right. That's what I meant.
This king is an absolute monarch. So he's like a Louis XIV in France. I don't know if you've ever seen, History of the World with Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
So he's like that kind of king. He's a king who basically.
And this king that's in power has been in power since 2015, right? Is that the current king, or when?
Yeah, he that's right. He became the king in January 2015.
Could I become the king? What do you have to do? Okay, all right. I'm one of these American people now. When someone tells me no, I just put my mind to it. I can achieve anything.
Pull yourself up from your bootstraps and get to work.
I'm going to be the king of Saudi Arabia. You heard it here first, people.
When your son says, "What do you want to be?" "I want to be the king of Saudi Arabia." Like, well, you can't.
Yeah, you can be anything you want to be. How about the king of Saudi Arabia? Well, not anything. You can't be. Was I right about the lingerie?
Apparently, yes, they do a brisk business in not just in Saudi Arabia, but throughout the Middle East.
The Middle East, yeah, they go crazy for the Victoria's Secret. Underneath, the women are willy woo-wah.
Where does willy woo-wah come from?
That's from Borat.
Yeah, but when you just said it, I couldn't place it. Why was I?
No.
No, wow. I'm not going to say that's one of my originals. Willy woo-wah.
I know, but when you don't say it with the accent, it's like willy woo-wah.
Yeah.
It like threw me off. Okay, so if we could talk about Prince Mohammed bin Salman a little bit. What does he do in the country? Jim said he's just a figurehead. I know that's wrong. Like actually has.
The king is the king is more like a, he's the ruler, but he's delegated authority to his son. So Mohammed bin Salman is the actual de facto ruler.
Okay, and so what is he like? Why is he important? What has he been doing with the country? If you can just explain a little bit of that, like bringing it into the modernization.
Yeah, so he has an idea that Saudi Arabia needs to modernize. It needs to diversify away from its dependence on oil. It needs to build an economy that's not dependent on oil. that you have to allow women. It has to become kind of a normal country rather than like a religious, fundamentalist zone where people are, have to shut down their stores four times a day for prayer and all the stuff that they used to do. They used to do before. So he's trying to move it away from that.
Now,
and
sorry, go on.
And so that's his plan. That's what he's trying to, and he calls it Vision 2030.
Vision 20. What he wants to have it done by 2030.
No, he wants one eye good and one like 30.
Yeah, it's by 2030 he wants the country to have diversified, to have built up industry and tourism and all kinds of other stuff.
Right, but why, as a tourist, would you want to go there? Why? What has it got to offer? Because I'd be worried about getting arrested the whole time. You can't get drunk, so how is it a holiday?
People go to Dubai and you can't get drunk.
You can get drunk in Dubai.
Can?
Yeah.
The hotels, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
hotels, yeah. Prostitutes are plenty in Dubai. Crazy. Just bars. Every bar is just prostitutes.
If you couldn't tell,
I've been told.
Jim's main two categories are prostitutes and alcohol. So he wants to know Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
He wants to drink, lick pussy, and make some money.
That's how Jim tells you if a country is good.
Yeah.
Have you been to the museums in France? Prostitute sucks.
Yeah.
Can I be the king or not? Fuck you.
Look, I've been to Holland 14 times. It's true. I really have. But for work.
So is he popular, the prince, there in the country?
Well, how do you know? Because if you say he's not, you get your head cut off. Do you get your head cut off?
Not him.
No, you could get your head cut off for committing a crime in the country. Certainly, like drug. If you were drug running or if you were peddling drugs, yeah.
Oh,
But
man.
he seems to be popular with the youth because he's opened up the country and made it more. He's brought comedians, he's brought concerts, he talks the talk of like, let's open up the country and become normal.
What comedians have gone over there? What comedians? What's the deal with the burger?
Maybe you'll get a gig there.
I seriously doubt that after this.
Like, that woman has pretty eyes. What's the deal?
Do we know what comedians have been there? I don't even know that they've come.
Yeah, they've also had rappers go, like 50 Cent went
Jim
there.
Gaffigan goes there and just talks about hummus.
That's the only food. I imagine like Gabriel Iglesias has been there probably. Like he's
Yeah,
been,
They
I think
just seem to have to be clean comics,
because
right?
he's done like the Middle East.
Yeah,
but-
Gabriel probably went.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I'm just looking, but this just showed me Saudi Arabia comics from Saudi Arabia. There's a
Right.
comedy scene maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you could have like comedy clubs called.
Don't do it.
Don't. Yeah. This is. we should take a quick break. Actually.
We gotta take a break.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone rise! This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Guys, let's talk about sex. Good sex. Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com. That's blue like the color blue. Blue Chew brings the first chewable pill with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach. Because, there's other ones. I don't know if you can do that. Maybe you can. And since they're chewable, they work twice as fast as a pill, so you can be ready when the opportunity arises. If you could benefit from more confidence where it counts, Blue Chew is the fast and easy way to enhance your performance. Blue Chew is prescribed online by licensed physicians, so you don't have to go to the doctor's office or wait in line at the pharmacy, and it ships right to your door in a discreet package. It doesn't say stiffy pills. It's just a discreet package that you can take in.
Really
and then your girlfriend goes, "What do you got there?" And you go, "You mind your own business." And you run upstairs and you chew away.
Did you get your Blue Chew yet?
I'm getting Blue Chew. They're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they are cheaper than a pharmacy. Did you know that, Forrest? And best of all, there's no more awkwardness. Right now, we've got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first order free when you use the promo code JIM. Just pay $5 shipping. Could it be easier? I think not. Again, that's BLUE Chew.com, promo code JIM to try it for free. Blue Chew is better, cheaper, faster choice, and we thank them for sponsoring our podcast. As people adapt to this changing world, are we going to be able to buy more stuff online than ever before? If you're an e-commerce seller, are you ready to meet the demands of our new delivery culture? Be ready with ShipStation. Why ShipStation, you ask? When you're selling online, getting orders out fast can be tough. How do you keep track of who gets what? Which shipping carrier should you use? Are you getting the best rates? That's why you need ShipStation.com. It's the fastest, easiest, and most affordable way to manage your shipping orders. Just a few clicks and you'll be managing your orders, printing out labels, and getting your products to happy customers. ShipStation makes it that easy. ShipStation helps online sellers of any size with orders put out there quickly, save money and shipping costs, and they keep your customers happy. No matter what you're selling, if it's Amazon, Etsy, your own website, ShipStation brings all your orders into one simple interface. Forrest, how has ShipStation been working for you?
Oh, you mean my Etsy shop?
I do, in your Etsy shop.
It's been great. I sell like coasters made out of discarded human hair from barbershops.
Oh, that's cute.
How do you get them to people?
Well, I've only sold 3, but in a year. But when I do sell them, I use ShipStation, and it's great because you can manage it from your cell phone too.
ShipStation works with all major carriers, including USPS, FedEx, UPS, even Amazon Fulfillment. And they even offer big discounts on shipping costs. Now any business can access the same postage discounts that are usually reserved for large Fortune 500 companies. You know, those big boys? They use ShipStation.
No,
they don't.
They don't.
But they get special rates
you're
that
gonna get
you
the
can
same,
get
you're gonna
on ShipStation.
You're gonna feel like a Fortune 500
You'll
company.
always know you're getting the best deal. No wonder ShipStation is the #1 choice for online sellers. You'll ship more for less with the best rates available. And right now, I don't know about that, listeners, can try ShipStation free for 60 days when you use the code JIM. Make sure your business is ready to meet the demands of delivery culture. Get started at ShipStation today. Click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in JIM. That's ShipStation. Then you enter the code JIM. ShipStation.com. Make ship happen. Well, Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually really good.
That one's pretty good. I haven't heard that
Yeah.
one.
You can have the Chuckle Hut. It's got nothing. One of them's just called Coconuts. these are different comedy clubs in Afghanistan. In what's the country again?
Saudi Arabia.
You have
Yeah.
a good memory, Jim.
What?
What's the country we've been talking about for an hour?
So was I correct when I said the Prophet Muhammad he hung out there? That's where he was from. Was that right?
Yes, he's from Arabia. I mean, it wasn't called Saudi Arabia at the time, but yes, he is from there. He's from the city Mecca.
And why did they change the name to Saudi Arabia? I could spell Arabia.
Right, so it's named actually the family. The royal family is called the Al Saud. So the country is named after them.
Wow.
What language do they speak? The Arabic?
Arabic, yeah.
Boom, shakalaka.
You didn't say that earlier. You might have gotten an extra point. You might have went from a 3 to a 4.
They speak Arabic.
Yeah, how would you have ever gotten that?
Their #1 TV show, I'm going to call it Big Bang Theory.
No.
No?
Beheadings. When did you mention beheadings? Do beheadings happen like regularly still there, or is that like a
They
penalty?
used to. Yeah, they used to. I don't think they do them in public anymore. And when they execute, they have capital punishment, and I think they're like number 3 or 4 in the world.
And
after
is it
China and Iran?
I'm serious with this question. Is it televised?
No, no. But they used to do it in the public square.
Oh, that's
Rio.
nice. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Seems way more sinister to do it in private. Like, I understand the idea of a public beheading as like here's an example of what could happen to you,
Yeah.
but to do it in private, it's like that seems so much more fucking evil.
Now, do women still get stoned?
No, but it's like, I mean, it's capital punishment. It's like it's like the electric chair. They
But
don't happen
okay. Do women
Yeah.
still get stoned? Is there stonings?
I mean, on the books, maybe yes, but no, I haven't heard of a stoning there.
Okay, so let's say I just get upset with Kelly, and then I just go, oh, she fucked like 5 guys last week. Can I get her stoned, or is that how it works? Can I? Can it be like the Crucible? Can it be like the Salem witch hunts? Can I just say something about someone and they get in trouble? Or
No.
Okay.
You can get in trouble for saying it.
Ooh.
Because to prove
that she committed adultery or she slept with someone, you need 4 male witnesses to the act.
Well, it was the 5 guys there. There's actually 5
There was
witnesses.
5 guys, and she did it in 5 Guys the restaurant.
Yeah. Well,
Love their try.
and if they're willing to come out and admit to it, then they would all be executed. Yes.
So adultery's illegal?
Yes, it's illegal.
Fuck, I can't go to this country.
Yeah, you're done.
How
man.
could you go on holidays there?
Well,
You can't sleep around. You can't get drunk. You can't. What can you do? Is there a beach?
You can go. Yes, there are beaches. There are beautiful beaches, by the way. You can go ride a camel, ride horses, hunt with falcons.
This may be a stupid question, but are tourists subject to the same rules? Like when it comes to adultery and stuff like that, that wouldn't be your problem, would it be? I
think you're under the rules of the country that you're in. It doesn't make a difference if you're a tourist. I know this for a fact. When I went to Dubai, when they were building the city up, it was nothing, and they put all these 7-star hotels, and they built the whole place up. What would happen is, this is in the early 2000s, if you went over there and they were opening big fancy restaurants, say you were a chef, right? And you came over and you went, I'm going to earn a lot of money, work here for a couple of years, and then go home to Britain or whatever. You would get a HIV test when you got there. If you tested positive, you would be thrown into prison. So that's a bad day.
Yeah.
You've got the HIV and you're in prison.
Yeah, that's awful.
And you've lost your job. That's a terrible day. I tell you, get your HIV test before you go over
Definitely.
there. That's me Lonely Planet tip for the day.
Okay, so I want to just get back to Saudi Arabia and some of the investment and stuff that the country has, because Jim touched on it about like us maybe being beholden to them because there's investments or money that's invested in this country. So one of the interesting things that I read, and I don't know where I read, I was trying to look up, is that they are going to build the largest solar array, or they've invested all this money into solar power. That sounded to me like the oil was good. Like you said, there's a lot of oil left. But to me, when Saudi Arabia is investing, I was like, well, that's a bad sign, right, for oil, right? That they're investing in.
No, because think about it. You know, if you could generate electricity from the solar, and they have a lot of sun there, right?
Sure.
It liberates a lot of oil to be exported. So you can sell more oil rather than burning it to produce electricity. So it makes a lot of sense for them to actually turn to solar and to wind.
Well, what other like companies do they have like in big investments in, like like it says
in solar?
No, like what other companies that the Saudi fund has invested?
What's your
into?
main expert?
Yeah,
So you got
like,
the solar, you got the oil, you got the flip flops. What else you got?
They've invested in a lot of Western companies.
Like the Prince is like
Uber, Uber, for instance, Live Nation, Carnival Cruise Lines recently. Lots and lots of companies.
I worked for one of those companies, so I would like to retract a few of my statements.
Twitter, I think, says Twitter too, maybe, because I was just looking. I'm just looking this up right now as we're talking. That's why it's DoorDash. We use it as kind of like a.
What's the main food there? They're all meat eaters, I assume. No pork. No pork. The pigs just running wild.
No pork. No, they don't have pigs. I've never seen a pig.
It's because you can't pull the burger off.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to ask you some questions. We do this at the end. I asked Jim a bunch of questions, like quick questions, see if he can answer them correctly. I have a feeling he's not going to be able to. And then if you know the answer, you can tell us maybe, and if you don't, because some of this stuff I looked up. Let's see here. What prominent American's phone was the Prince, MBS, as he's shortened, accused of hacking?
Hugh Grant. He's British. Prominent Americans.
Why would it be?
Miley.
Why would he hack Hugh Grant's phone?
Miley Cyrus.
And you can let me know if this is true or not. This is what we have here. It was reported on January 22nd of this year that it was the hacking of Jeff Bezos' cell phone.
Oh,
that makes a lot more sense than Miley Cyrus.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. Okay.
Did they say what he was looking for?
Is that when they found the naked pictures and all that type of stuff? They found some dick pics on Bezos' phone?
It just says here that the Saudis have been suspected of tracking Saudis' phones in 4 countries. One Middle East expert, Andrew Miller, former member of Barack Obama's National Security Council, said surveillance was part of the kingdom's modus operandi. And I think they're surveilling not only those they know are dissidents, but those they fear may deviate from Saudi leadership. So they do a lot of phone hacking.
So that's a human right that they're not allowed. Or are they allowed to hack your phone?
I don't think anyone's allowed
Yeah,
that. I don't know what the rules on hacking phones are with governments, especially if you're in another country doing it. I think that's completely illegal, obviously.
Right.
But in your own country, if it's in Saudi Arabia, I guess they can do whatever they want, right? Or
yeah, I mean, surely if they suspect you of being either a dissident or a terrorist or whatever, sure, yeah, they could. But I just want to tell you that the U.S. does this all the time. Even Angela Merkel's phone was hacked by the U.S.
Oh, don't be silly. The American government's never
You do nothing wrong.
Look. Okay, so
we have
Saudi
no
Arabia,
human rights violations.
Saudi Arabia has some human rights issues, and America's history is clean, as is Australia and Britain. If you're listening, we've all really done nothing wrong historically. The problem with Saudi Arabia is you're just fixing it now. If we did a podcast just after slavery, we'd have a lot more to talk about. You know what I mean? If like Australians are always like, yeah, but we haven't done anything to the Aboriginals in a while. Yeah, but the British are always like, the British people listening right now are going, what have we done wrong? You ran the whole fucking world. You took over India and hit them all with cricket bats and taught them cricket. Now
We're
they're
all
very good.
terrible.
Yeah,
Okay.
no one really does a great job.
Here's another one. All right, just complete this. Saudi Arabia is the largest country in the world without a...
Page 3 model.
No, they might have that.
They don't have page 3 models without a porn star.
It's a river. They're the largest country in the world without a river.
Yeah, but my answer's right. They don't have. There's
You
no.
can't Cliff Clavin this.
There's no Saudi Arabia porn stars. It's the largest country without a porn star.
Okay, let's go one more. This is another article I found. Saudi Arabia. This is a few years back, but they were thinking of stopping public beheadings due to a shortage of what?
Swords.
Close. Swordsmen. They didn't have like the people to behead. That's
what it would have to be. Like, how do you get that job?
Yeah.
One day you're just chopping wood,
Yeah.
and you think to yourself, "Fucking hell, I went through that quick."
Somebody's dad is like, my son cuts heads better than anyone you've ever seen. They just like,
Or you're just a terrible hairdresser.
yeah.
You're just the worst hairdresser, and you're going, "Oh, maybe I should shift my skill set."
just down to 1 foot. Saudi Arabia, here you go, Jim, takes witchcraft so seriously that the country has banned what books?
Harry Potter.
Yeah, I figure you might get that.
Of course they're going to ban Harry
Now,
Potter.
I did read, though, that because under the prince now, he's opening up cinemas for the first time, or they have been open in the first time in 35 years. And
You didn't have cinemas?
They are, yeah. He doesn't, he's in
I
New
like
York.
how you
He's
said
in New York
you.
City right now.
No, but he knows about it.
No, but I'm just saying I guess they have cinemas now, or they're going to open them, and now then I read that they are going to allow Harry Potter to be seen in the movies because they were like saying in the context of the movie, people should understand that it's not real. But there is a committee for the promotion of virtue and the prevention of vice called the CPV, and they said witchcraft is illegal. Is this correct, or am I like way off? Or
It is correct that witchcraft is punished there. According to the religious law, the particular religious law that they followed. And there were cinemas there in the 60s and 70s, and they shut them down, and now they've reopened them again.
Right, so the number one movie is still A Hard Day's Night.
I don't think so. I think that's all. There's one last one. Let's see if you know this. This is one. Saudi Arabia accidentally printed a textbook showing what fictional character sitting next to the king. This is years ago. This is, I think, the previous king.
Okay, Oh, witchcraft! Oh, they've come, everyone! Oh, that was the ghost of Christmas past. They have Christmas. I'm going to go out and limb and say they don't have Christmas. Give me an extra point.
King was in the UN. He was in the movie. You like this character.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like this
Fictional character.
Fictional character. Superman.
Yoda. Look, you can see the picture right there. So apparently there was an artist that was from Saudi Arabia, and it wasn't meant to be disrespectful. He was putting Star Wars characters in famous historical...
Or his wife just took her outfit off.
He was putting Star Wars characters in famous historical events, like from Saudi Arabia. And this was when the king was at the UN, and he put Yoda there because he was, like I said, he was wise and he was a good speaker and this and that. But apparently somebody just grabbed the picture really quick and said king at the UN, and they threw it in a textbook. So I don't know if you know that one. I found that.
Yeah, representing Dagobah.
Have you heard of that? Was that the Yoda thing?
I remember seeing the story at the time. Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Is Star Wars banned over there?
No, I don't think so.
No, Jedis aren't illegal, just witchcraft.
Well, there's witchcraft. There's people moving things with their hands. You think Star Wars? Like the reason I'm asking is, if Star Wars is banned, if you live in Saudi Arabia and you saw that picture and you have no reference to Yoda, that must have really fucking spun about. Go. Obviously, that's the delegate from, I'm going to say, Spain.
All right, I think that's all for the questions. Now,
What's happened, Forrest?
I just had
Forrest just had a stroke, everyone. he's just had his computer hacked, and all of a sudden it just says Saudi's okay.
No, so we've talked a little bit about a bunch of things about Saudi Arabia, but also about the prince. We have a thing called Dinner Party Facts, a segment where we want to give our listeners something, because I know, as Jim explained in the show, it's a lot of times we want to give our listeners something where they can say something at a dinner party or a bar or whatever, and it's like a fact that's obscure, or maybe a lot of people don't know, or it's a story, but at least they'll have some knowledge that they think other people might not have. I'm having problems, but I think that was like rough. 55 words to say two things.
Have you got a fun fact about Saudi Arabia?
That people might not know.
They have a thing that happens once a year, which is called the Hajj, which is the big pilgrimage to Mecca. Yeah. And they manage, and it's a pretty small place, in a small valley kind of area. And they managed to get 3 million people into that place. And they have to move around like in a very particular circuit according to different rituals. And they managed to pull that off. And it's a pretty amazing kind of feat.
So it's basically Coachella, but everyone's listening to the music.
Yeah.
Not this year, probably with COVID.
So that's one. Not with COVID. Now they're thinking of actually stopping it this year.
Do they have social distancing over there at the moment?
Yeah, they do, and they have like a curfew in the evenings and at night. They've taken it very, very seriously.
Oh. And
they've also given free medical treatment to everyone. Foreigner or national.
I always like to hear this about countries. Do they have free healthcare?
Yes, they do.
Oh,
the government pays for it. Yes.
Yeah,
and free education.
And is it free
and
education?
No taxation. No taxation.
No one gets taxed.
Saudi's sounding a lot
Wait
better.
a second, it's turning around.
I don't need to drive.
Wait a minute.
Why no taxes? They just don't. Because they have so much money from the...
they have minimal taxation. Basically, it's because it's a state that redistributes the oil wealth to the people. 70% of the working population works for the government, receives a salary from the government.
And you said a lot of the oil comes from the United States too, so they could do that here. They could redistribute oil wealth in the United States if they wanted to, huh?
They do that actually in Alaska. Everyone in Alaska gets a check when times are good and oil is... makes a lot of money.
Is their military good? They have a large military.
They're building up their military. It's, so-so.
Right. There's just one guy with a sword.
I think that's a great fact that there's no taxes. Come on.
So if they don't have a big military, why are we always... Why this might sound silly, why doesn't America just rock in there and take it all?
Well, that nearly happened in 1973-74. When there was an oil embargo, the Saudis decided that America was supporting Israel, and that was not good. And so they decided not to sell oil to the United States, and the U.S. threatened to invade and to take over the oil fields. And an interesting fact that very few people know is that once that crisis blew over, and then, the Americans and the Saudis, did, hugged and kissed and everything went back to normal, the Saudis then went and built, with the help of a Swiss company, a system of explosive devices and tunnels and so on to destroy all the oil fields should there ever be an attempt to take over the field.
Because that's the thing.
They're ready to... They can blow the whole thing up if they want to.
If you don't know about Switzerland, Switzerland is the most paranoid country in the world, and it is landlocked with mountains, and you can get in there by tunnels, and everything's ready to be shut down at a push of a button. The Swiss, that's why they're always neutral. They can shut the place down just with explosives, ready to go. Huh. And all the explosives...
That's what the Saudis did with their oil fields.
All the explosives are in this compact little thing, and there's also a spyglass and a toothpick. And okay.
Okay, so I haven't asked this yet, Jim, because you've scored pretty well. But what did you learn today? Because usually I don't ask you that because you kind of knew a lot of this stuff.
I learned.
Give us a few things you learned today.
What did I learn today? I learned that the prince is very popular. There's more human rights happening now in Saudi Arabia. That they don't have a big military, and that we could take them over.
This is what you just said right now.
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's all I ever remember in the last 2 minutes. and that if Donald Trump is listening to us, I may have given him an idea. So sorry, Saudis, if you might be done after this. I've also learned that I don't know what else I learned. I think I knew most.
What
of
is
it.
one of the holy cities? Let's just go with that.
Mecca.
All right.
I knew the holy city of Mecca. Everyone walks there one day, or goes on camels or whatever. And
Do you remember the prince's name now?
Salman Rushdie. Prince Salman Rushdie.
Definitely not that.
Fuck, I fucked it up.
You said Salman. Just say Salman.
Prince Salman. Prince Muhammad. They're all, a lot of people call Muhammad.
Bin Salman.
Prince
Yeah.
MBS.
Yeah.
Just say
MBS, which is, I think, a bank in Australia.
It's a Korean pop band. maybe.
Yeah, there you go. Korean pop band. What's the number one band over there? What do people listen to music-wise?
I mean, they have their own musicians, Saudi musicians.
Right.
But you have a lot of new groups coming up, and they're big on Korean stuff too, Korean pop. And
Koreans take it over.
They like
I think
the
they had
K-pop.
Mariah Carey go over there as well, so they love Western music.
I tell you, the Saudi outfit is the best outfit to dance Gangnam style. You could really kick your legs up and have a good time in that.
Breathable. Moves well.
I imagine everyone's genitals smell ultra good over there because they're free balling all the time.
Well, they also use Manscaped. So.
Ah, yeah, Manscaped.
also very
Wonderful
hot, though.
product.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna shift gears right now to what we do at the end of this, just so you know, because you have never been here, Bernard. Before we do a little segment called "I Do Know About That." This is some stuff that Jim has told us that he thinks he knows some facts about. I ask him 3 questions just to see if he does know it, and so far he's done terribly.
Okay.
So he hasn't. So we might retitle it to "I Might Know About That." That was Kelly's suggestion because
Yeah.
I think that's more accurate. But we chose falcon racing today. Now, you didn't
Falcon.
put that on the list, but it is true. We were in a hotel in Scotland, of all places, and we saw
we're in
falcon
Glasgow.
racing coming on. Yeah, and where we were watching, that was in the UAE. That was it was probably outside of Dubai or something like that.
Were we drunk or just high?
I mean,
We were on stuff.
something, yes.
Yeah.
But we watched a couple hours of falcon racing. We got
Yeah.
really
We weren't
into it.
sober. We watched
Yeah.
hours of it.
Yeah, it's no secret. I'm in the falcon racing now. So let me ask you 3 questions about falcon racing, so you know. So now, one of the when we watched the falcon racing, how did they make sure that the falcon flies in the correct direction?
Because they have a bit of meat on a rope with a guy swinging over the top of his head.
Yeah, pretty close. It's a dead pigeon on the rope. Actually,
it's
They-
meat.
They swing it around, and then the falcon will see that and go after
And
it.
it'll race over there.
Yeah. So, and there's 2 types of falcons that they use. There's a gyrfalcon and a peregrine falcon that they use mostly for the racing. The peregrine falcon, the racing bird, is the fastest in the world, fastest bird in the world. What is the fastest recorded speed of a peregrine falcon?
Mach. No, I would say it would go 80 miles an hour.
There's been one recorded at 240 miles per hour when it was diving. Like when it's diving. Now, when it's flying horizontally, no. But when they dive, they're the fastest birds in the world. When they fly
Well,
horizontally,
you didn't ask if it was diving.
That's just gravity.
Yeah. I can fall at 200 miles an hour. Like I'm not faster than a falcon. Oh, Jim jumped out of a plane. He's the fastest bird on earth.
Jim can only run horizontally 3 miles per hour regularly, but he can fall from the air at 240 miles per
Fun
hour.
fact: I run slower than I walk.
you do. So you're right. So horizontally, they only fly 40 to 55 miles per hour. You know what the fastest bird that flies horizontally?
Is the pigeon.
There you go. Last week's I do know about
Yeah,
that.
the
Talk about
pigeon.
Okay, last question. Which of these is true? Okay. A,
First one.
A, in the UAE, falcons are issued their own passports. B, Qatar Airlines allows falcons in the cabin with a limit of 6 falcons per flight. C, Abu Dhabi Falcon Hospital has 200 individual air-conditioned rooms just for falcons.
C. Maybe all of them. They all
That's the
sound.
correct answer.
All of them. All
It was
of
a
them.
Yes.
trick. It was a trick.
Yeah, all of them.
Falcons have passports. They're required. They have all Falcons have passports in
I have
the UAE.
friends that don't have passports.
Yeah, I know. Qatar Airlines allows them the cabin. They say 6 per flight, but some people get special. We have
Do you
a pic-
pronounce it Qatar? I pronounce it Qatar.
Qatar?
That's
Is it
Qatar.
Qatar?
I think
it's
it might
Qatar.
be Qatar.
It might be Qatar, and I said it wrong. And there's many Falcon hospitals, but there is an Abu Dhabi Falcon hospital that has 200 rooms just for Falcons. And there's a couple
But not
pictures.
enough respirators or masks.
Yeah. they have them, but they're just for the Falcons. They're like, this Falcon is COVID. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to die. But there's pictures of there's a Falcon passport right there, or you can see it right there. Look, it's got a little passport.
Oh, yeah, it's a
We'll
little
put it up on the
passport.
screen so people can see.
They don't have a picture of the bird in there, though.
Yeah, they do. They have a picture of the bird, and they have a little band on the right talon.
Do they ask them all the stupid questions? What's your reason for coming to this country? Racing. All right, it checks out.
Are you bringing in any fruit?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have to pay you. What's under your wing there? Fuck, he's got a bag of Coke.
And then we have some pictures that we put up there, too. There's like one that's a commercial airline, and it's just tons of Falcons in there.
You said that to me, and I was like, what the
Shitting
fuck
everywhere.
Is going
They're
on?
just shitting on the plane, but they have plastic. And then there's just people sitting next to them like it's normal. Like there's like 50 Falcons on this
Yeah,
plane.
imagine if you're sitting next to a falcon and they come around and they ask you what meal you want. And you go, I'll have the vegetarian option, please.
Or just I'll have the raw lamb.
Yes, and if you could put it on my forehead.
But I don't think you can afford a racing Falcon, Jim. I was looking at, well, you could afford it, but it would be a lot of money.
It'd be all me money. Yeah, Jim's homeless and I'm walking around with a falcon.
Well, some of the racing Falcons generally cost around like 50, 60,000, but then some Falcons, and these are just like hunting Falcons, I think the highest price was equal to $1 million for just a Falcon.
Yeah, I wouldn't get the best falcon.
Yeah, you get like a 10 grand
I
Falcon.
get like a Tesla worth of falcon.
Yeah. Just wanted to hang out in your backyard while you
All
swim.
right.
Just so that when my son's playing up, I just look at him and I go, I'll take the fucking helmet off the falcon. If you don't step
make
in
me.
line, don't make me take this helmet off
Don't
the
make me
falcon.
throw a dead pigeon at you right now.
Hank, go right out in the yard with this pigeon.
He's
Go
flying-
further!
doing it with like
Further!
he's like flying a kite with this dead pigeon.
Here's the crazy thing is you got 2 out of 3 right in the Falcons. That was the one I thought you the other ones you said you knew about, you didn't get it right.
I
So
know. I knew
that was
it.
a trick question. The last one, you even got that one right. But you did earlier when you were talking about Saudi Arabia, you were saying Falcon racing. I don't know, Professor, maybe you can tell us. But everything that I read in the UAE and in Dubai is where Falcon racing is pretty big. But in Saudi Arabia, they still have trained Falcons that they use for hunting and stuff. But I'm not sure if that's...
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They do. I mean, the rich, you have to be rich to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But yes, there is falcon hunting.
There's no dollar store for Falcons.
And they don't just hunt in Saudi. They also go to other countries like Pakistan and
Oh, that's why I need
and
these
Like,
Sudan,
passports.
and they hunt with them there.
is there people like, when someone hots up a car because they can't afford an expensive car, does anyone ever get like a fucking pigeon and just paint it?
The Honda Civic
Yeah.
of Falcon.
And just,
I mean,
and
there
just
are-
paint
there are
it a
skits.
bit different
There-
color and
There are what?
Yeah, there's a funny skit with some young Saudi men who are making fun of the princes, and instead of holding falcons on their arms, they held chickens, and like making fun of the whole
the Falcon.
whole-
Yeah. Look at
yeah,
it.
that's from the sketch group Monty Falcon.
That's a good one. All right. That's our show. Thank you, Professor Bernard. I'm sorry, Jesus Christ, I just lost it. Bernard Haykel for being here. Is there anything you'd like to promote or tell us about?
I'm glad you did this show. I really am. I'm glad that I hope your viewers kind of get more interested in the Middle East. It's an important part of the world, and it's in a mess right now. And there's a lot of suffering. So
my
it's good
fan
that
base is
people
fascinated.
Oh,
should study it.
I have it here. I found it. Your book, Saudi Arabia and Transition, Insights on Social, Political, Economic, and Religious Change, is available on Amazon, correct?
Well, thank you very much for being on the show, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was an interesting chat.
Yeah.
And join us next week for another episode of I Don't Know About That.
That's not how you end the show normally.
If someone comes up to you and they say something and you want to win the argument but you know nothing, just say, I don't know about that, and walk away.
There you go.